Srosh Yast Hadhokht. There are 2 Yasts dedicated to Srosh, the angel of divine worship. One is a part of the Yasna, and the other is called the Srosh Yast Hadhokht. Whether it belonged to the so-called Hadhokht Nosk, one of the 21 Nosks of the original Avesta, or whether it was recited in the Hadhokht sacrifice, a particular liturgy, is a matter on which we have no sufficient information. Remember, Srosh is the counterpart to Eshma. So obedience versus wrath. The 2 Yasts have a few developments in common. We'll see in 89, 10 through 13. The Hadhokht is more liturgical. The Yasna Yast is more descriptive and has, to a greater degree, the poetical imagery of a Yast. The Srosh Yast Hadhokht is recited every day during any Ga, except the Rapet Ben. A Pahlavi translation of the Yast is extant, and Anquetil mentions a Sanskrit translation. And, it's not recited in the early afternoon prayer. So, 0. May Ahura Mazda be rejoiced, and so on. Hashem Bahu, holiness is the best of all good, and so on. I confess myself a worshipper of Mazda, a follower of Zarathustra, one who hates the Da'avas and obeys the laws of Ahura. For sacrifice, prayer, propitiation, and glorification unto the Havani, the holy and master of holiness, and so on. Unto the holy, strong, Srosh, who is the incarnate word, a mighty, spirit, and lordly entity, be propitiation with sacrifice, prayer, propitiation, and glorification. Yata ahu va'iryo. The will of the Lord is the law of holiness, and so on. Part 1 compromises 1 through 9. 1. We sacrifice unto the holy tall-formed, fiend-smiting Srosh, who makes the world increase, the holy and master of holiness. Good prayer, excellent prayer to the worlds, O Zarathustra. 2. That it is that takes away the friendship of the fiend and fiends, of the he-fiend and of the she-fiend. It turns away in giddiness their eyes, minds, ears, hands, feet, mouths, and tongues. As a good prayer, without deceit and without harm, is manly courage, and turns away the Durug. 3. The holy Srosh, the best protector of the poor, is fiend-smiting. He is the best smiter of the Durug. The faithful one, who pronounces the most words of blessing, is the most victorious in victory. The Matra Spenta takes best the unseen Durug away. The Ahuna Va'irya is the best fiend smiter among all spells. The word of truth is the fighter that is the best of all fiend smiters. The law of the worshippers of Mazda is the truest giver of all the good things, of all those that are the offspring of the good principle, and so is the law of Zarathustra. 4. And he who should pronounce that word, O Zarathustra, either a man or a woman, with a mind all intent on holiness, with the words all intent on holiness, with deeds all intent on holiness, when he is in fear either of high waters or of the darkness of a rainy night, or at the fords of a river, or at the branching off of roads, or in the meeting together of the faithful, or the rushing together of the worshippers of the Da'avas. 5. Whether on the road or in the law, he has to fear. Not in that day, nor in that night, shall the tormenting fiend who wants to torment him prevail to throw upon him the look of his evil eye, and the malice of the thief who carries off cattle shall not reach him. 6. Pronounce then that word, O Zarathustra, that word to be spoken, when thou fall upon the idolaters, and thieves, and Da'evas, rushing together, then the malice of the wicked worshippers of the Da'evas, of the Yachts, and their followers, of the Pa'irikas, and of their followers, will be affrighted and rush away. Down are the Da'evas, worshippers, and they take back their mouths from biting. 7. And therefore we take around us the holy-natured Sirozahs, the holy, the fiend smiter, as one does with shepherd's dogs. Therefore we sacrifice unto the holy-natured Sirozahs, the holy, the fiend smiter, with good thoughts, good words, and good deeds. 8. For his brightness and glory, for his strength and victorious power, for his offering sacrifices unto the entities, I will offer him a sacrifice worth being heard. I will offer up libations unto the holy Sirozahs, unto the great Asha Ben-Gohe, and unto Nyayis Sangha, the tall-formed. So may the holy Sirozahs fiend smiter come to us for help. 9. We worship the holy Sirozahs, we worship the great master, Ahura Mazda, who is supreme in holiness, who is the foremost to do deeds of holiness. We worship all the words of Zarathustra, and all the good deeds, those done and those to be done. Yenhe Hatam, all those beings of whom Ahura Mazda, and so on. And perhaps we're just bringing to mind difference along the hierarchy to the God, the great master, who is the foremost of all worthwhile. The source of part 2 is verse 10 through 13. 10. We sacrifice unto the holy, tall-formed, fiend-smiting Sirozahs, who makes the world increase, the holy and master of holiness, who strikes the evil-doing man, who strikes the evil-doing woman, who smites the fiendish droog, and is most strong and world-destroying, who maintains and looks over all this moving world. 11. Who never sleeps, wakefully guards the creation of Mazda, who never sleeping, wakefully maintains the creation of Mazda, who protects all the material world with his club uplifted from the hour when the sun is down. 12. Who never more did enjoy sleep from the time when the two spirits made the world, namely the good spirit and the evil one, who every day, every night, fights with the Ma'zainya Da'evas. 13. He bows not for fear and fright before the Da'evas, before him. All the Da'evas bow for fear and fright reluctantly and rush away to darkness, for his brightness and glory, for the strength and victorious power, and so on. The duality, as the tradition, whether you say it's 8,000 years old or whatever, builds up as time goes on, to the point where you get Zervanism, even, not surprising. 3 is only verse 14. Yata ahuv erio, the will of the Lord is the law of holiness, and so on. We sacrifice under the tall, holy, fiend-smiting Sirozahs, who makes the world increase, the holy and master of holiness, who with peace and friendship watches the droog and the most beneficent spirit, so that the Ameshaspentas may go along the 7 Karshvaras of the earth, and who is the teacher of the law, he himself was taught it by Ahura Mazda, the Holy One, for his brightness and glory, for his brightness and victorious power, and so on. Part 4 compromises verse 15 through 17. Yata ahu va'erio, the will of the Lord is the law of holiness, and so on. We sacrifice unto the holy, tall-formed, fiend-smiting Sirozahs, who makes the world increase, the holy and master of holiness, whom the holy Ahura Mazda has created to withstand Ashma, the fiend of the wounding spear. We sacrifice unto peace, whose breath is friendly, and unto the 2 withstanders of sin and guilt. 16. The friends of the holy Sirozahs, the friends of Rashnu Razista, the friends of the good law of the worshippers of Mazda, the friends of Arstat, who makes the world grow, who makes the world increase, who makes the world prosper, the friends of Eshe, Vengohe, the friends of the good Kiste, the friends of the most right Kista, 17, the friends of all the entities, the angels, basically, the friends of the Mathra Spenta, the friends of the fiend-destroying law, the friends of the long traditional teaching, the friends of the Amesha Spentas, the friends of ourselves, the Sa Ashants, the two-footed part of the holy creation, the friends of all the beings of the holy world, for his brightness and glory, for his strength and victorious power, and so on. Part 5 is verse 18 through 23. Yata ahu va'erio, the will of the Lord is the law of holiness, and so on. We sacrifice under the holy, tall-formed, fiend-smiting Sra'asha, who makes the world increase, the holy and master of holiness, the first, Sra'asha, the next, the middle, and the highest. With the first sacrifice, with the next, with the middle, and with the highest, we sacrifice unto all the moments of the holy and strong Sra'asha, who is the incarnate word. 19. The strong Sra'asha of the manly courage, the warrior of the strong arms, who breaks the skulls of us, who smites with heavy blows, and is strong to smite, the holy Sra'asha, who smites with heavy blows, we sacrifice under the crushing ascendant of both the holy Sra'asha and Arste. 20. We sacrifice for all the houses protected by Sra'asha, where the holy Sra'asha is dear and friendly treated and satisfied, as well as the faithful man, rich in thoughts, rich in good words, rich in good deeds. 21. We sacrifice unto the body of the holy Sra'asha. We sacrifice unto the body of Rashnu Razista. We sacrifice unto the body of Mithra, the Lord of wide pastures. We sacrifice unto the body of the holy wind. We sacrifice unto the body of the good law of the worshippers of Mazda. We sacrifice unto the body of Arstat, who makes the world grow, who makes the world increase, who makes the world prosper. We sacrifice unto the body of Esha Van Gohe. We sacrifice unto the body of the good Kiste. We sacrifice unto the body of the most right Kista. We sacrifice unto the bodies of all the entities. 22. We sacrifice unto the body of the Mathra Smenta. We sacrifice unto the body of the fiend-destroying law. We sacrifice unto the body of the long traditional teaching. We sacrifice unto the bodies of the Amesha Spentas. We sacrifice unto the bodies of ourselves, the Sa Ashants, the two-footed part of the holy creation. We sacrifice unto the bodies of the beings of the holy world, for his brightness and glory, for his strength and victorious power, and so on. 23. Yata ahu va'iryo, the will of the Lord is the law of holiness, and so on. I bless the sacrifice and prayer, the strength and vigor of the holy, strong Sra'asha, who is the incarnate word, a mighty spirit, and lordly entity. Give unto that man brightness and glory, and so on. Give him the bright, all happy, blissful abode of the holy ones. Now see, all this towards talk, but then it's ourselves too. So we're bringing things into ourselves, we're bringing things out of ourselves by all this, but all these other created things, they're not any closer to being a god than we are. So yeah. And so we have the reference of the fleeing. We're going back to the Meher Yast. We have a reference to the fleeing from Mithra as they fall into the hands of Rashnu. Tara. One might feel inclined to read Thrastara, the fear striking, in verse 629. Okay, we're still on verse 41 with all that. And there's some doubt in verse 44, or about a couple parts of it. When we go forward, the Hara ete bareza is the same as Hara bareza ete. And then we have some doubt at the end of verse 52. Ma Yasts could be what's intended there. And then we run into a text that is thought to be corrupted, and 40 regarding verse 60, which may be read Vaso ya anna e in atam. And firm like it in verse 61, we have Eredwo sangem sudridagangata kila karya yad padapayam yogyata kartum vyavasai saktaska. And in reference to the continents, there are the Karshwaras. We have Karso Razangam, or Kesvar Virae. And of course, there's going to be the delivering is supposed to be from Ahraman, Ingrameinu, the devil. And the happiness, the Yaakstevant, Kama Komand, meaning possessing whatever is wished for. And we have Vyanaya Amat Vandinit Yat Grehnate, in reference to the taking possession of the beautiful in verse 64. And then Mithra himself is supposed to play a role in some of what's to follow. And invisibility is seen as a power. Remember, in the Goetia, you have Baal that's given that power, although traditionally I don't really see that as listed. I mean, before, when you take it back before Baal, it was listed as a grimoire entity. The Western Karshvara seems to refer to the career of Mithra during the night. So, yeah, we can't take that sort of thing literal here. Arezahe. Because people think, oh, well, where's the sun go? Where's this entity go during the night? Oh, well, they go to the land of the... No. And so the wheel of sovereignty rolls upon things. So it has sovereignty, or the person in favor of the sovereignty, but the, sounds like it's taking away sovereignty. And then, of course, there's the uplifting, when one's chariot is embraced. And there's some doubt with some of these things that follow. We have Anu Po Ithwa, or Po Ithwa, relating to Ron-Isin. And this, the pursuing is the note that's connected on. And then we have the mention of the hands. Oh, it's interesting. The four paws, but it's literally meaning hands. And it's interesting, I'll just point out that's note 666. And the spine is referred to with the language of the column of life. And in some of those things, you're going to have some stuff about that tells you some things that go on with physical function or consciousness or whatever. They worshipped him, and he has consequently overcome the Mithra Drugas. And then the world rejoices. And we have the genius of truth. Further on, what does the genius of truth do? Oh, Rashnu. Okay. I forgot for a second. Mithra gives a dwelling to the truthful man in the same way he destroys the dwelling of a liar. Aepe Vithese, the Vedic Ape Viathis, and so the private experience. Ya Oxte, the root of the Persian Neosidon, Pahlavi, Neoxiton, to hear. One might be inclined to translate 1,000 ears or 1,000 hearings, but the meaning of the word must have been rather more general, as Nere Aseng translates it. Dvakana. Isn't there like some Buddhist entity that's a Dvakana? Well, it's not Buddhist per se. I don't think there's anything distinctly Buddhist about Buddhism, but the 1,000 sensed entity. The something in danger of death, 84. And then we have Pethe, or Mretyu. So that would be the danger of death itself. Vakem is the so-called Vog. And that's the low tone of voice. And most manuscripts have added here from the preceding clauses with the hands uplifted, and to make, that's his, the cow driven away invokes him for help, in verse 86. There's an allusion to a myth also in that verse, which Mithra is described as an Indra delivering the cows carried away by a Vritra. Firmicus Maternus called him Abactorem Baum. Commodianus compares him with Cacus. Vertebraque Babus Alienus semper in entris, sicut et Cacus volcani filius ele. I have that book there of quotes on about Zoroastrianism from external sources, but that's, that if I recall right, that doesn't really, that should have a bunch of translations. So 89 talks about ha'ama, the drug blend, or the consciousness that represents, which you can achieve without the drugs, as being, shown, being established as a priest. And the morning service of the Ga Usahin, well, isn't that, the dusk to dawn prayer, so that's not quite morning. Sometimes the English words that we're using here are a bit far, but the prayer from afar, of course, the middle of the night, the darkest time can seem like that. The Ameshaspentas are reference the mastership of the world, so the delegation in verse 92. It should seem as if Mithra was supposed to retrace his steps during the night. The Hindus suppose that the sun had a bright face and a dark one, and that during the night it returned from the west to the east with its dark face turned towards the earth. Vravois is the Parsi tradition translates large. Fraz, Pahlavi, Buland, and this is 6999. So further on here than I thought. That's so the taking over all the moving world, 103. So, yeah, that's that. And then next we have the mention of the Sind as the easternmost river of verse 104. The Ranga are Tigris. The words Age Urva Yaete and Nigne, he seizes, he beats, are the words used of the priest laying the ha'ama in the mortar and pounding it with a pestle. The Sind and the Ranga are thus compared with the two parts of the Havana. The land between is the ha'ama, and Mithra's arms are the arms of the priest. And the Seneca is an apax legamenon opposed to the abbas of the Ranga. And the boundary of the earth is like the Arabian Sea. I don't know whether they mean the Mediterranean or whether they mean the Indian Ocean. Who has not a ray of the celestial light, here is the man of a little faith. Asna in Sanskrit is Susila, and we're having reference to that, the virtuous offspring, verse 108. And, well, always good ritual, so he who offers a good sacrifice and does the right things and believes the right things, that's pretty standard with all this, so I'm going to try to skip over those comments when I get to them, because 730, when it clashes with another. So the poignard lifts its voice aloud in verse 113. The kathan of 114 is what the poignards do. And the chief of the sacerdotal order, the so-called Ma'ubed an Ma'used, which is quite the title, right? So what's the specific about that? It's much easier to say Mobed, but the Zarathustrotema, well, it's, if that connects it to the prophets, so what does the Otema mean exactly? And so we have this mention, the contracts being of the different parts and all that stuff. So the contract being 20-fold between two friends or two relations. That is 20 times more strictly binding than between any two strangers. The passage is one of the most important of the Vesta as a short account of the social constitution and morals of Zoroastrian Iran. Is in the Quran, isn't it Surah 4, Ayat 36, talks about the circles of relationship. And, oh yeah, worship God, that sort of thing. So it summarizes religion in a verse, but it talks about it in a relationship sort of context. And the same group, as in same work group, Sva Pankte, are Nere Aseng. The Haba Ga'etha, the co-proprietors of a Ga'etha, are rural estate. So, people who have joined together in a business venture, not just joining work crews. And there's doubt about the mention between the spouses. Well, that would fit there somewhere. But the two nations, the jus gentium, the contract between the faithful and the law and the covenant. Well, forget all this shame about failing other people. What you need to do in life is you need to have your own moral ground or ethics or whatever you want to call it. It's the same thing, really. I know the words are defined a little bit different, but whatever. Guilt of having failed and not, but then you turn back and you kind of, so guilt, shame, fear, that sort of thing's meant to cause a change or prevent certain things. So, but it's, not something to dwell in by itself. But shame is not really what we're going for. So you need to be true to yourself, true to your own, to the terms that you've agreed to, and then we turn to verse 17. That every day, victorious strength, we're having the fed with. I overshot that. Hamahe ayan. And there's a question about the last clause in that. And the prayer follows Mithra and his career rising and setting with him. Just like the Hercules stuff, it's not really about whether Hercules is the god that people say Hercules is. It's about, here's something that we can connect to, something that we can invoke as, authority, as an authorities, principles, steps, that sort of stuff. The entity that we learned them through is secondary, you could say. And I don't know, but it says there that the giving and sacrifice mentioned in verse 120 it's not sure the language of that text, but there is a lot of the language being lost there. So the 30 strokes with the Srasho Karana, Upazana. It is an expiation, Akayayanta, which purges them from their sins and makes them fit for offering a sacrifice unto Mithra. One may find in this passage the origin of the painful trials through which the adepts of the Mithraic mysteries had to go before being admitted to initiation. What, they'd beat them just in case? Okay. Auk an aun ice auton. Uk an un ice auton dun hasa ita tis tel es thah na I ma te a tin on bath mon parel thon ton ka as e un